You're watching Straight Black Love Talk with your host, DC Radical One, the home of intelligent, mature relationship conversations.
What would be the benefits of international black love? One thing that an international black love movement would do is reconnect black people around the world. We would, in essence, be repairing families on a global scale. It would also break down barriers to working together economically and politically. It was efforts from black Americans that helped end apartheid in South Africa. It was a Jamaican, Marcus Garvey, who formed the largest black movement in America and around the world. The enemies of black people have worked tirelessly to divide Africa from her children in the diaspora. In warfare, the best strategy is to do the exact opposite of what our enemies want you to do. Our enemies have stated, though not publicly, but in communications between themselves, Memorandum 46, that dividing black people in America from black people in the continent is an objective. And I believe that as much as it was an objective 40, 50 years ago, it is still an objective to this very day. And yet many of our people fall victim to this objective of our enemies. Sister Najai, you have anything that you'd like to add to this?
I would love to see it become a marrying of, and we already do see it, a marrying of cultures. Like, for example, there was a wedding that took place within the last few weeks, and it was, I don't remember who was American, but it was an American and a Zambian African couple that they had their wedding. I don't know where they had their wedding, but they fused the cultures together, and the wedding was absolutely beautiful. And that it looks good, yes, but I would love to see it go a step further and it actually become like a diplomacy thing, where it's like, now that because these two have married, we can say that the two cultures literally can, or the two countries, or however it may be, actually are working together now. I would love to see that happen, and it's completely possible. There's a couple that moved to Tanzania the same year that I went to Tanzania with President Magufuli, and they've been living there ever since. And the wife just recently became an ambassador for with the African Union. And so she now has the ability to, she's acting as ambassador for Tanzania as well as for America, and like to be able to physically move yourself to other places, but then also mentally, culturally, marry. It is something that is going to be a lot stronger than just, to just be able to say, oh yeah, my wife's from Trinidad. So, but it's like, nah, like, not only is my wife from Trinidad, but, when we go to Trinidad, we're loved, and the Trinidadian people see that, the husband's from Ghana. And so now the people of Trini feel like they have a connection with Ghana. And like, it really could be such a benefit. Now, brother, you got ripped off adds in a very, very important question. Do we need to promulgate African American culture? I am not a person that feels that we are people of the African people of America don't have culture. I'm not somebody that's ever going to say that.
Can I interject real quick? I can answer that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Not to cut you off. Yeah, we need to promulgate African American culture. We need to leave inward culture in the dustbin of history.
Right, because there is a difference. There really is a difference. There's a lot of beautiful things that come out of the culture of our people. Unfortunately, you kind of got to look way back when we were at our best to really get the full, like a Chocolate City. No, I don't feel at all embarrassed to say that I'm from Chocolate City. Now, what's going on now today is a little bit different, but just in general, to be able to say that that's, my people come from, or to know that, the morality and the acceptance of cultures in Philly and just, Harlem, and like there's a lot of wonderful things that come out of African American culture. It is a thing, and it is something that we have to be serious about, because it's, we are being warred upon, like brother DC said, and part of the war is trying to make us give up our culture. And when I say give up our culture, I mean let other people use our culture to display it as what they want it to be, or what they want us to start doing, and we just following right, right along with them, because we don't. There's a lot of reasons that we just don't we don't feel that we have the power to be in charge of our culture. We feel like the only thing we really allowed to be an authority on is hip hop. But no, we can be an authority on I think, was it you, brother DC, that said that it was either you or somebody recently. I was hearing that, people were using the church, the black church, as a way to get people out of, like, during, people trying to emancipate themselves from enslavement. And they would basically, like, they could only move on Sunday, because that was the day that the white people, was up in their house. And so we would use the church as a way to get out. There's so many beautiful stories that come out of our struggle. And anybody of any African, world African culture, if you're not able to respect African American culture, then I wouldn't want to be with them, because that would mean that I don't respect myself and the culture that I come from. So, great question.
Yeah, let me add to that, sister. I think somebody had made an AI representation of that, and I think I sent that to you. So I didn't make it, but I think I did send that to you. But I'll just say this, and to add on to what you're saying about a person not respecting our culture. This is what generally happens. People who don't have a knowledge of self, they go to the continent, or they deal with a person who from the continent or the islands or wherever the case may be, and they don't have anything to bring culturally other than what is presented at this current time, which is not our culture, but is the small hat inside the mind of black people, or really on like his hand up our back like a puppet, and us spewing nonsense and degeneracy. What I have found in dealing with people from the continent is that, especially if a person is from the continent and they do not know our story, when you tell them our story, when you tell them about Malcolm X, when you tell them about Robert F. Williams, when you tell them about Nat Turner, when you tell them about the inventions of people like Granville T. Woods and people like that, and the things that we invented, the stoplight and just all this stuff, and improving on the electric light, all these things. When you tell them our story, then they respect it, because they are never told our story by our enemies, because they're told by our enemies that what our enemies think of us. And you know what I'm saying, like, we forget this second part that I'm about to say. How many of us have been told disrespectful, negative stories about the African continent and African people, right? Like, I remember watching Boys in the Hood, and Trey was saying, because his father had taught him, like, yeah, we're from Africa, and the little boy, like, I ain't no African booty scratcher. And then Trey said something to him, and then he's like, I ain't from Africa, I'm from Crenshaw Mafia.
The first man was found. My daddy says that makes it a place where all people originated from. That means everybody's really from Africa. Everybody. All y'all. Everybody.
I ain't from Africa, I'm from Crenshaw Mafia.
Like it or not, you from Africa.
I'm from Africa, you from Africa, you African booty scratcher.
So this little boy, in ignorance, because of course he's a little boy, he does not know, he hasn't been anywhere, he wants to claim a block or a few blocks, a neighborhood, over the richest continent on planet Earth. And the sad part is that in that scene in that movie, that mentality is what a lot of our people think as adults, not as 8, 9-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? But as 30 and 40-year-olds. And the fact of the matter is at this time we have a movement being promoted amongst our people with that same mentality, but you just add to the fact we was already here, we the original Indians, and so forth and so on. And when you can be the original Indians all you want, you can be whatever you want. I'm gonna tell you this much: all the European, the Asian, and the Arab see is somebody black that they want to kill, and the hats see somebody they want to exploit and kill. So they don't care. Our enemies don't care about none of that. They see you wearing your military uniform is your black skin, and your enemies want to skin you alive if they can, right? And take your woman and children and have their way with them. That's what they want. And I don't care what you try to claim you are, what you try to identify as, what you try to not identify as. No one cares. No one cares. They want to remove you from the planet and make money in the process.
So the things that are in operation on this planet is that white people want to kill us. I want you to understand that. They want to kill you. And it has nothing to do with what the kind of degree you have, what kind of car you have, what kind of title you have, what fraternity you belong to, what religion you belong to. They want to kill you because that is part of their plan. There are any number of reasons why they want to do that. I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure out why they want to kill us. But I know that's what they want to do. And they want to do it in many different ways. Psychological, economic, cultural, spiritual, social, and biological, chemical, electromagnetic. They want to kill you. But they also want to make money in the process of your death.
None of that stuff is going to save you from what's happening right now. None of it. None of that stuff, none of them ideologies, the philosophies, they're going to repel any bullets from the COPs. You know what I'm saying? None of it. None of that stuff is going to stop you. It's going to stop anyone from, we got people out here stealing people's homes and all types of scams and shenanigans to keep black people from acquiring anything or having anything. None of those ideologies or philosophies or identities or this and that and more and this and that and blah, blah, blah. None of that stuff is going to stop the war on black people. You know what's going to stop the war on black people? Black men and even black women practicing ma'at, reciprocity. That's what's going to stop it. Us giving the same energy that we get from our enemies, giving that same energy back. That's what's going to stop it. Anything else you're talking about is coward talk.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical, the number 1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A big for ODA and straight black pride.